CHR Corporation is a real estate owner, developer and operator that was forged from the union between one of Switzerland's most successful private real estate entrepreneurs and Swiss financiers, a unique team of financial structuring specialists with expertise in transitioning private companies to public markets through the initial public offering or IPO process. CHR's primary goal is to identify and secure unique real estate projects around the world which fits its core principles of shareholder value creation, social and environmental sustainability, and design that reflects and supports local community. This pre-IPO private offering will raise $228,750,000. The 25 million shares in the common stock, representing 25% of CHR Corporation, will be offered on a progressive pricing scale from $7.25 to $10.25 on a first paid, first served basis. CHR's foundational real estate development will be Project NIKOLA in Croatia, an exceptional luxury development opportunity with deep cultural roots, in an idyllic location. Project NIKOLA is the largest and most exciting luxury real estate development in the Adriatic. The first project of CHR Corporation, it will be developed on an own and lease revenue model to form the foundation of CHR's long-term property portfolio. The vision to create a new environmentally friendly city in this idyllic area of stunning natural beauty began almost 2 decades ago. It began with the singular vision of one man, John Paul Oldry, who upon visiting the area for the first time immediately set about building a dream. It has been a monumental achievement to source and merge more than 1,500 individual lots of land from owners, and the descendants of owners, to secure the entire parcel of contiguous land. They were painstakingly gathered over a period of 17 years to amass the combined plot that provides the unique scale of Project NIKOLA today. The name is borrowed from the neighboring fort of St. Nikola, a 16th-century fortress which formed part of the defenses for the Republic of Venice, and is listed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. The nearby Cathedral of St. James, in the ancient walled city of Šibenik, this is also a protected UNESCO site. Šibenik is located in the longitudinal center of Croatia's coastline on the Adriatic. In this area of untouched natural beauty, rich with historical heritage, the area immediately surrounding the project is under environmental protection. The project site is nestled between 2 national parks. Off the coast is the Kornati National Park, comprised of almost 100 islands that make the region a paradise for yachting, and inland is the Krka National Park along the river that flows into the sea by Šibenik. The area is serviced by 2 international airports, Zadar to the north, and Split to the south. Both less than an hour away. Croatia has an excellent modern highway system that makes Šibenik easily reachable by car from several European capital cities. The climate in Croatia varies based on latitude and distance from the Adriatic Sea. Areas in the south and close to the coast predominantly experience a Mediterranean climate with warm summers and mild winters. The areas further north and inland typically experience a continental climate with warm summers and cold winters. NIKOLA is located on the cusp of this divide, experiencing warm summers and cool winters with moderate rainfall. Its relatively northerly aspect means that warmer temperatures are generally moderated by the air masses coming from the interior of the Balkan Peninsula. Predictions about the speed and severity of climate change vary enormously. It is nevertheless one of the factors on the minds of many investors in real estate, so it is important to address, in order to remove it from the list of potential concerns. The latest global report published by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change confirms the Adriatic and Aegean seas of the inner Mediterranean to be at far less risk from potential future sea level rise, flooding or storm surges resulting from climate change over the next century than their European counterparts with coastal borders on the North Sea and Atlantic Ocean. The Netherlands, UK, France and even Germany are at considerably greater risk. Italy is a notable exception in the Mediterranean, due to the extreme nature of the Po Valley. Its flat low-lying plain covers 18,000 square miles of northern Italy, surrounded by mountains and emptying into the Adriatic by Venice, where 250 miles of coastline already stand at or below sea level. Croatia, by contrast, benefits from a more elevated coastline, steady gradients and thousands of natural barrier islands, such as the Kornati National Park, next to NIKOLA. These physical characteristics create an environment in Croatia that the UN IPCC report defines as suitable for achievable climate-resilient development. Designed by internationally acclaimed local architect Nikola Basic, renowned for his sea organ at Zadar, the project was conceived and planned to maintain a sense of place and connection with the sea. Its core principles support social and environmental sustainability with design that stays true to its Dalmatian heritage, Mediterranean lifestyle and local community. CHR Corporation is owner of 90% of the project NIKOLA. The remaining 10% is retained by the project's initiating founder, John Paul Oldry. This pre-IPO private offering will raise $228,750,000 in return for 25 million shares in the common stock of CHR, which represents 25% of CHR Corporation. The project site covers more than 650,000 square meters, approximately 7 million square feet, on which 1,400 residential units will be built, including 1,200 apartments and 200 villas, totaling almost 160,000 square meters or 1.7 million square feet of living space. NIKOLA has been conceived as a new and vibrant community, not merely a tourist destination, but to also service that demand. There will be 3 hotels, of 4- and 5-star category, totaling over 400 keys. Internationally renowned hotel operator brands are already hotly contesting these 3 sites. Amongst them are Marriott, Ritz-Carlton, and Accor. A casino, medical clinic and hotel academy will provide stable revenue both on and off season. Sensitive to its natural environment, Project NIKOLA will maintain a green belt around its perimeter and park spaces throughout and create a marina and yacht basin to provide waterside living and views to capture the natural beauty of the surrounding region. These green and after areas amount to nearly 1/4 of the total land area. A casino, medical clinic and hotel academy will provide stable revenue both on and off season. Sensitive to its natural environment, Project NIKOLA will maintain a green belt around its perimeter and park spaces throughout and create a marina and yacht basin to provide waterside living and views to capture the natural beauty of the surrounding region. The master plan has been broken down into 20 function-specific zones, for residential, commercial, and mixed use. The project lifecycle can be broadly separated into 3 core stages: pre-development, construction, and completion. Current focus is on finalizing the pre-development phase to ensure an efficient transition to the construction phase. A range of international consultants have been contracted throughout the pre-development phase, each world-renowned in their respective field of expertise, including hotels and hospitality, residential housing, retail and commercial, feasibility, budgeting, and valuations, engineering and environment. The studies completed covered issues of legal and commercial feasibility, planning, budgeting and valuation, and architectural and marine design, taking NIKOLA to a construction-ready state. The construction phasing has been prepared along the same model as the 20-zone architectural outline, concentrating of site clearance, preparation and access, then moving rapidly on to excavate and dredge the water areas. The bay and its opening to the sea will ultimately provide for villa homes with private moorings, and the lake behind it will offer the only private beaches on the Dalmatian coast, a rarity in the Adriatic. After just a few months, the building construction will commence, centered on the Bay Area with hotel, villas and apartments providing quick show home and hospitality options for early, soft opening guests to enjoy. The beaches, parks, roads and utilities that support the broader community will be added over this period, in tandem with ongoing residential completions. And finally, the remainder of the lakeside properties, green zones, medical and academic forum, and the third hotel will reach completion for this thriving year-round community to flourish. Research, feasibility, zoning, design, and site approvals have all been completed. Final construction drawings and finalization of pre-approvals are covered within the use of proceeds. Total construction costs have been estimated at around $530 million. These costs have been reviewed, amended and verified post-COVID and Ukraine to take into account potential logistical disruptions and inflation. Construction estimates were prepared by DeSimone Consulting Engineering, in conjunction with the local CHR project management team in Croatia. Basic units of costs for each building type and the surrounding infrastructure were evaluated based on comparable, and near comparable, construction projects within the region in order to gauge realistic, deliverable numbers. More detailed numbers are available to interested investors upon request, broken down by trade, building type and individual unit within each zone and aggregated overall. Drawdown of funds for construction will start strong due to the excavation and dredging of water areas in the bay and lake. Then the building construction and related infrastructure spend will build steadily, peaking sometime in year 3. So the cumulative spend will flatten out in the final stages, as is typical of a project of this scale and mix. Residents and guests are expected to already be moved into the first units constructed before this flattening occurs. CHR expects the first units will be leased and hotel rooms booked within 3 years. Well before the project's final completion, which is scheduled for 5 years in total. The management of CHR has chosen to publicly list CHR through an offering of common stock rather than take the more traditional route of funding development via debt, thus avoiding the risk of operating under a huge debt burden in an unpredictably high inflation environment. In addition, it provides the immediate transformation of valuation from current NAV to a valuation based on projected earnings. Plus, it cements operational stability over the long term, as equity funds have no redemption date. And it retains the option to review and amend strategy in the future depending on prevailing market and economic conditions. CHR management have carefully considered 2 competing revenue models. The first, to hold and lease all of the property within the NIKOLA project to create steady income from a solid portfolio asset base. This would provide a solid platform upon which to build a significant future portfolio, providing the opportunity to finance future projects and drive expansion internally, making CHR less dependent on external funding, more robust and resilient to market cycles and disruptions. The second, and perhaps more traditional path, to sell the units off to realize the immediate capital gains which can then be reinvested in new projects. This would reliably crystallize a short-term profit but gradually diminish the company's asset base and its ability to generate reliable repeatable income, forcing management to source and execute new projects repeatedly. This would increase risk and remove the flexibility of having an internal asset source from which to derive future project funding. CHR management have chosen the first option. The projected annual leasing revenues will accelerate in line with the completion of construction works. For the bulk of the villas and apartments, the emphasis will be on multi-year long-term leases to encourage the establishment of a community that will gain from cohesion and consistency. The resort-managed hotel villas will have more seasonality, but the off-season will be boosted by the casino, medical clinic and hotel academy, none of which have been accounted for in these numbers. From residential and hospitality alone, CHR will earn almost $90 million a year in income, achieving a cap rate of 7.35%. Using a combined EBITDA and asset basis, This translates into an equity valuation of over $2 billion at IPO and over $6 billion post-completion, assuming a 7 times multiple. That equates to a return for investors in this pre-IPO capital round of 2x and 6x respectively. Proceeds from this pre-IPO round will be primarily used to cover the acquisition of raw land, at a price that was locked in almost 2 years ago. It is currently valued at over $300 million. Proceeds will also cover preparation to make the land construction ready and to fund the costs of taking CHR Corporation public next year. The S-1 filing was submitted this month. More detailed use of proceeds are available in the private offering memorandum, and SFI is scheduling one-on-one appointments for any investors that would like to take a closer look at the financials or any other details of CHR Corporation or Project NIKOLA. Given the importance of NIKOLA as a critical inaugural development for CHR Corporation, attention here has been focused solely on its successful completion. However, we would be delighted to discuss details of CHR's subsequent pipeline projects in the one-on-one meetings. CHR presents a unique opportunity to invest on the ground floor in a new global real estate owner-operator, with a portfolio anchored by a rare core asset. NIKOLA has an aggregated plot size that is impossible to match today on such pristine Mediterranean coastline. The Dalmatian coast's reputation for unsullied natural beauty, combined with the professional touch of Croatia's most famous architect, provide a culturally sensitive collaboration for significant urban revitalization. The project is well supported by the community and politically at every level, including significant EU subsidies for the generation of verifiable long-term employment once construction is completed. Croatia as a country provides an ideal environment for development with a backdrop of significant tourism industry, and its political, judicial and monetary stability as a member of the European Union. In Q1 2023, Croatia will adopt the euro as its legal tender, making it a member of the Eurozone, which is expected to bring a notable revaluation of local assets. Project NIKOLA is not structured like a typical real estate deal that is highly leveraged and burdened with debt maintenance. By focusing on an exclusively equity-based funding program, and using the private-to-public valuation uplift of a proposed IPO, Project NIKOLA will have the luxury of time to employ an own-and-lease revenue model that provides steady growth. In a low-growth, high-inflation investment environment, this model provides unrivaled stability. It also reserves the option to borrow later, as a public company, at much better rates, or to pursue an asset sales revenue model later at a time when inflation may be perceived as peaking. A data room along with copies of the private offering memorandum, which includes the subscription agreement, can be made available to attendees. We are currently scheduling in-person and virtual one-on-one meetings for those investors that have genuine interest. Unorthodox. So why invest in this unorthodox but extraordinary opportunity? Firstly, CHR is more than a single real estate project, yet on its first project alone, Project NIKOLA, the present-day raw land value in Croatia is greater than the invested capital being raised at this pre-IPO financing round. Secondly, land values in Croatia could easily increase by a multiple of 4 times upon accession to the Eurozone in January next year, based on historical precedent. Thirdly, the EU subsidies for bringing economic revitalization and creating long-term employment in the region are likely to be greater than the total invested capital and development costs combined. And lastly, the unique nature of CHR's long-term own and lease approach creates a truly unique accretive asset base with significant stable cash flow that can be used as a platform for long-term expansion, thus providing the demonstrated valuation uplift to multiples of invested capital that are not commonly achievable in real estate. For further information or to schedule meeting, please reach out to a partner of Swiss financiers at the address below or via the link in your original invitation to this event. Thank you for participating.